All right, shalom, shalom. I'm gonna get straight into this lesson, and I'm not sure what I'm gonna entitle this lesson, but it's gonna be dealing with proving Esau Edom is the so-called white man today, right? And that's what he's been trying to hide behind these different titles that he's created, that so-called white people, right? He's been labeled as so-called Australians, the so-called Spanish, the so-called British, so-called Americans, all right, so-called French, all right, so on and so forth. But you see this devil right here, all right. So take this off. Let me get into this lesson, right? But you see all these, animals that these devils love to do wild game hunting, all right. But this one of the characteristics of they forefather Esau, all right. So let's get into this lesson. Got a lot to get to, all right. I'm gonna start here. We're gonna just go through the scripts, all right. I'm gonna do one thing at a time. So we're gonna go to the book of Genesis. All right. And what does Genesis mean? Right. The book of Genesis. Genesis means the origin. Right. Genesis, the word Genesis. Thus you have the book of Genesis. It says right here, the origin or mode of formation of something. Right. It says right here, similar origin, source, root, beginning. So this is the beginning of the races of people that we have on this earth today. There's no such thing as so-called white people, and there is no such thing as so-called black people. There was a social construct created by the so-called white man in 1681. I did a lesson on it, right? So let's get into this lesson. So with all the origin of the nationalities or races that you see today come from somewhere. They have a source. And the so-called white man descend from Esau Edom. That's his forefather. I'm going to prove that to you. It says character traits, right? So that's how we're able to identify who's who. We like spiritual detectives, right? It says character traits, words that describe characters, personality, or qualities that make them who they are. So a lot of you so-called white people don't know why you do what you do. You don't know why you like to hunt, right? And these sports outdoors, like Academy and Dick Sport and All Good is geared to the so-called white man, all right, with his hunting apparatus. You know what I'm saying? These devils get all into it because this is in a DNA, all right, to be this way. So let me go here. I'm gonna jump back there real quick. So let's open up with the first scripture. So we know the word Genesis means the origin, the beginning, all right, of life itself. All these different nationalities come from a source. All right, this new speech that's called Jamaican and Puerto Rican and Honduran and Black, African American, all that's new speech. All right, Genesis 36, and I'm gonna start at 8. It says, "Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir, Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. Esau is Edom. All right. So Esau is the forefather, your forefathers of you so-called white people, right? It says 9, and these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites in Mount Seir, or Mount Seir. So let's go to this word Edomite. We don't just call you Edomites for no reason, right? So why are you called Edomites? Right? And white people, that's a new creation. So we gotta come out of that ignorance. All right. It says H121223. Edom, Adawam, right, in the Hebrew tongue, if I'm not mistaken. It says Edom equals red. So Edom means red. It says right here, Edomite, Idumean. So that's a Greek way of saying Edom, right? Sometimes you'll see that word Idumean in the scriptures. That means Edom, Edomites. That is a Greek way of you saying it. It's an Edomite, Idumean. It says descendants of Esau, descendants of Esau, called Edomites. So we're not just saying this, right, just for the hell of it. So let's get into this devil, your forefather characteristics, and know that you'll be the biblical Edomites. Check this out. All right, it says the Roman Empire of the Edomite. So the Roman Empire was the empire of the Edomites. Contends that the Roman Empire was the Edomite origin. So you so-called white people was the ruling class in the Roman Empire that was ruled by Edomites. And you got this book right here. I'm gonna be going into this book as well to bring some of this information out to edify the body. Right here, it says the Roman Empire of the Edomite. You see right here, and that's a common teaching that's taught in this modern day secular history that the Edomites were done away with. That's nothing but a lie. There's no end to no nations of people, right? So let's go here. It says the Antipater, the Idumean, right? How did the Edomites look? Let's go here. So he was a Idumean, which we went in. I showed you that. That's just a Greek way of saying Edom, all right? So this the Antipater, right? Slovakia. Go to some images, better images, right here. So this is the Edomite right here, and this is how they look. This is so-called white man, right? Man. And that's how you Edomites look. I can go more into that another lesson. But I'm trying to click this image. There you go. Right, so what this look like? Your so-called average so-called white person today. And it's more images. I'm just trying to get straight to the point. Right, let's go here. The book of Genesis 25 and 27. So we're going to get into the characteristics, the character traits of Edomites. So we'll know who they are today. So we know for sure that the so-called white people that you see today that relabeled themselves as white, their true nationality, biblical nationality, are Edomites. Genesis 25 and 27. It says, and the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter. That's another identifying marker of the Edomite, what they like to do. Hunt wild game. They're cunning hunters. And you look at, like, you know, any of these sports hunting channels or whatever, there's nothing but Edomites. Look at them. I mean, Edomites are known for doing this. They kill animals for sport because you're the devil, right? Look at this. That's just in your DNA to be this way. But this is another identifying marker knowing who the Edomites will be today. Remember, Genesis means origin, right? And you can just go to many videos and, I mean, look, all Edomites, right? So you really are the devil of the earth. You're a cancer, man. Your descendants. Let's go here. Genesis 25 and 27. Remember, Genesis means origin. So the origin of the so-called white man. And that's what we're going to focus on today. All right. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter. Cunning hunter. That's why you so-called white people hunt today. And for our people, that's why the so-called white man hunt. He get all into it. He's the outdoorsman, right? It says a man of the field. They go, your outdoorsman right there. So the so-called white people thrive in the outdoors, right? They have deer piss on them. They'll hunt deers, any kind of game, right? They get all into it because you get this from your forefather. And Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents, right? So it's two different nations that was in the room, all right? So one nation would be called Edom, Esau, Edom, and they will have certain characteristics that we would be able to identify them today. It says Genesis 27 and 40. There's another characteristic of Esau, Edom. Let me go up so you can see it's talking about Esau. Genesis 27. Let me start at 38. Right here. And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. 39. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, the dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth. So this devil has all the best real estate, all the best lands throughout the whole world. Just look up all these countries. They are ran and occupied by the so-called white men, and all the other tribes, the tribes of Israel, live in poverty, right? The white man is really the devil, and of the dew of heaven from above. So this devil will be in his, he would be in his rulership, enjoying all the benefits of the earth, all right? And the Israelites will be on the bottom. 40. Another characteristic of these Edomites and by thy sword shall thou live, and by thy sword shall thou live. Let me show you something real quick. And it's out this book. I'm gonna be going into this book as well. A powerful book right here. To write the Negro question, part 4. All right, I'm gonna read this. It says the so-called whites in America have left this land and other lands as as an inheritance to their seed that should come after them. They took America and other lands by the force of the sword. They shed a lot of blood to ensure that their seed had a place to call his own. But I want you to focus on this part right here. And they took America and other lands by the force of the sword, right? So we know the Edomites, the so-called white people, live by the sword, but this would be the identifying marker to know who they were today. All right, it's like evidence, right? Genesis 27 and 40. All right, talking about the Edomites, Esau. And by thy sword shall thou live. So the descendants of Esau, Edom, will be live by the sword. That's why they stole America. That's why they stole all the lands that there went. They raped, robbed, and pillaged, renamed people, renamed lands, broke treaties, just straight up lied to you. Everything. Whitewash history. Turn history upside down. That's why the people are in ignorance. It says, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and shall serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion. So this devil is in his dominion, his rulership. Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it. Right? The succession of kingdoms. That thou shalt break his yoke from thy neck. So let's go here. All right, running out of time. Salakia. But the Edomites will be another telltale sign to know who the Edomites were today, where they'll be ruling with the sword. Genesis 25 and 30. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. Right? Esau, Edom. And you devils like to eat your meat medium rare. You ask the Edomite how he like his steak. He's gonna say, and she's gonna say medium rare for the most, right? But this is a part of the characteristics of an Edomite. All right, Genesis 25 and 30. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage. All right, so let me show you something else, because somebody might trip up with this. Hebrews 12 and 16 to show you there was meat. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person. So this is the Esau, Edom. The Edomites are just devils, man. Right? As Esau, who for one morsel of meat, what was this red pottage? It was bloody. Sold his birthright. All right. So that's how you like your steak. So this is another characteristic of the so-called white person, the Edomite. Let's go here. Genesis 25 and 25. And the first came out red all over like in hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. So Esau is red, right? That was a physical description, right? The so-called white man blood shows forth through his skin, right? And that's why they're known as red people. They're not white. They're not white people. And that's why you got this term redneck, right? Look at this. So when a so-called white man is in a sun for an extended amount of time, they turn red. Anytime they show any kind of emotion, they turn red. So these will be the identifying characteristics of the Edomites. And the Edomites, without a shadow of a doubt, is the so-called white man. All right. And I can go more into this in another lesson. Call Hala, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rachakwadash. Shalom.